Well, happy official start to fall, although it doesn't feel like it. Equinox occurred earlier this afternoon, exactly 1:19 p.m. Central Time, so that marks the official beginning of fall. But as we will talk about, it does not necessarily mean our temperatures immediately cool down. So, talk about some of our Alabama weather headlines here. Summer continues, at least for the next day or two, couple of days. We are looking at some beneficial rain across the state. That'll be a good thing considering we have turned pretty dry, most of Alabama in some level of drought, which is not uncommon for this time of year, by the way. We turn more seasonal by the end of the week and the weekend. 60s, 80s will be our temperature range, and a very busy tropics, but that's also very much expected this time of year. Big picture, looking at the national view here, we've got some rain across the Four Corners region up in the Rockies, and then kind of an elongated area of rainfall from, say, upper New England area down through the Ohio Valley, and a few thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley back towards the Mississippi Delta this afternoon. Again, it's about 3 o'clock here. And there you have showers and thunderstorms, most of which are in the northern third of Alabama. We have some additional rain back to the west and north Mississippi, and a cluster of showers and storms down near the Louisiana boot. So we'll go to the local radar here. This is off of Birmingham, some thunderstorms moving through Walker County, also through Fayette County. And again, this is about 3 o'clock. We are seeing these gradually move southwest to northeast. Our wind pattern is shifted some. It's more southerly, if you've noticed the return of the humidity, which I certainly have. A lot of last week, it was a drier heat. This week, there's a bit of a weight to the air as the water has returned, and that makes it feel a little bit more oppressive in some instances. We'll start up in the shoals in northern Alabama. This is off a high top radar. Some thunderstorms as you head into extreme southern Tennessee. Also into right along the Tennessee River, just to the south too, in northern Cullman County, some of the heaviest rainfall. And again, these are moving off to the north and east. We'll continue to do so through the afternoon. There's a look at some of the rain in extreme western Jefferson County, Walker County, and again, those showers in Cullman County, thunderstorms, I should say. And the southern half of the state, by and large, is dry, a little bit further away from the greatest forcing, which will be the case here, at least over the next 24 hours or so before a front begins to approach. Temperatures here, you're going to notice, are a little bit cooler, so that's relative. All right, still hot and humid. Sunday, mid-90s. From Thursday through Saturday, many spots verified north of 95 degrees. Again, that was that drier heat, bigger swings in temperatures. We had lows in the mid-60s, highs in the upper 90s. But with the added moisture in the atmosphere, it has kept our temperatures in check, though it does feel a little bit more oppressive out there, anywhere from the upper 80s. Obviously, you can in Hamilton, Huntsville, rain, cooled air, to the lower 90s. So not a huge spread in those temperatures. Looking at our high temperatures on Tuesday, same deal, maybe slightly warmer. I got 93 at Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, 92 in Sylacauga, 94 in Montgomery, 91 in Mobile, 94 in Dothan. That could very well be the final day or one of the final days of the higher heat levels here this week. This is a look at highs on Wednesday. So we'll go to the HRB. This is a look at our Tuesday rain chances, and you're going to notice most of the rain stays to the north of Alabama. We'll have an approaching front. It'll move very slowly through the middle of the country and bring about our best rain chances north of I-20. Though anywhere could have an isolated shower or thunderstorm. We've seen that the last couple of days, but I think the focal point will be up right around the Tennessee River and points to the north of that, at least on Tuesday, before we see a general progression south with that frontal boundary. So that takes us into Wednesday, and here's that aforementioned front. There's our surface low right in central Missouri, southern Illinois, and the position of that low is very important. This time of year where we talk about these frontal passages, and we don't typically see a ton of severe weather. This particular month, we start to see that pick up more so in November with the way things set up. You have a much colder air mass on one side of the jet stream and that tropical air to the south. But this is not one of those setups that I'm overly concerned. This is Wednesday afternoon. Again, that parent low will move off to the north and east. It'll be right over the Ohio Valley. The trailing cold front will be moving through the Mississippi Delta Wednesday afternoon. Rain chances start to rise Wednesday evening. And then Thursday might be where the bulk of the rainfall comes through Alabama. This is Thursday morning. And a couple things to take away here. Number one, we see that front push through here on Thursday, early in the day. You don't have a lot of instability at that time of day, and we will probably have increasing cloud cover throughout the evening. In addition, that surface low is going to be much further away. This is going to be up over the Great Lakes region by this point in time, so we don't have a ton of wind shear. So those are a couple of our parameters that we look at. Again, they'll be forcing along the front, so a strong thunderstorm or two can't be ruled out, but I think this will be more or less a very beneficial rain for us. Pushing to Thursday afternoon, the bulk of the heavier rainfall now pushes south of I-20 down near Montgomery and into the Wiregrass by the evening. And then by Thursday night into Friday, the front moves even further to the east. It's not the fastest moving front, so we could have some delayed rain and some moisture on the backside of this front. And that would lead to some showers, especially south of I-20, closer to US 80. And then the focus will probably be in the Wiregrass on Friday. And then this low gradually shifts over New England. The trailing front will be over South Georgia and into the northern Gulf by Friday afternoon. Again, a few lingering showers are possible, but by Friday evening, most of the rain should be well to the east, and we'll have high pressure set in at least for a day or two. The SPC's outlined a marginal risk area across all of Mississippi and northern and western Alabama. Again, I don't really see it coming together. This is probably our best frontal boundary we've had here in a while. So again, approach with caution. If we see a strong thunderstorm or two, it'll be very brief, maybe some gusty winds, but again, not an ideal severe weather setup, as we typically do not have this time of the year. So I'm going to go now to our temperatures late in the weeks. These are Thursday temperatures, again, with that rain cooled air around. We might see temperatures topping out in the 70s, low 80s. We move into Friday morning. The coolest air not quite here yet. By Friday afternoon, once again, clouds, and behind the front will be in the low to middle 80s across much of the state. Rain-cooled areas could be in the 70s. And then by Saturday morning, we start to have some of that cooler fall-like air filter in here, as we could have some low 60s to the north. And Saturday afternoon highs will be in the low to middle 80s across much of the state. Sunday morning could end up being the coolest morning that we have in the forecast period. This model running a bit warmer, but I do think low 60s across northern Alabama, mid 60s across southern Alabama. So rain totals over the next 7 days. Again, this is the average, and you see these lighter blues here and these darker blues. That's about 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain. Very beneficial, again, to the south, where that frontal boundary will be weakening as it pushes south. A little bit less or so, about a half inch or maybe 1/4 of an inch down near Monroeville, the southern end of I-65, as you head down to Mobile and Baldwin counties. But a good chunk of the state, right around an inch of rain. Extreme northern Alabama, up close to the shoals, about an inch and a half possible over the next 7 days. And again, we'll mention there's a slight chance of an increase in rain probabilities early next week as a cutoff low retrogrades back to the west from, say, over South Georgia into Alabama, and that typically yields some scattered showers for us, so we'll keep an eye on that. All right, tropical update here as we move forward. Very busy across the tropics, so we'll try to break this down. So here are the areas of potential development. Again, you have Gabrielle, a well-established major hurricane, which is just a little to the east of Bermuda this afternoon. Then you got two areas to watch for development. Very low chance of development over the next 48 hours, much higher probability over the next 7 days. And you can see the general trajectory of these outlooks take it to the north and west. And again, there's a reason for that. We'll get to that in just a minute. Big picture, there's those two potential invest or areas to watch. There's one low right there to the west of the Lesser Antilles. Then you have another one right behind it. Very disorganized and of no threat here again over the short term. And of course, you can see the main feature of note. This is Gabrielle. It is currently moving north. Wind sustained at 120 miles an hour near the center. It looks like it underwent a bit of an eye wall replacement here over the last 12 hours or so. Central pressure about 950 millibars. So, it's a pretty decent major hurricane there, but this will be no threat outside of the Bermuda area here as this quickly races off to the north and east. This will be out in the central Atlantic by Wednesday and off the extreme northeastern Atlantic. And out of sight, out of mind for the Atlantic Basin. All right, so let's bring this back to Tuesday, and I've plotted where that potential low is down near Windward, Leeward Islands there, and also plotted that ridge. This high pressure Bermuda high has been so influential in our tropical tracks this year, as many have not been able to get much further to the west than say Bermuda, the Bahamas, and not even really the Bahamas. They've been skirting that particular area, but swinging around the western side of the low. This is by Thursday into Friday, and you'll see that high still in place. And there's the potential track of that low. Again, this is just one model, but most of the ensembles plot this low to the east of the Florida Peninsula, and I think that'll be the case, especially with the way our steering winds have gone. One thing of note here, you see this this feature here over the Gulf Coast states? This could bring about our chance of rain as some moisture slings around the northern side of a high. So the high plotted right over the panhandle, and then some moisture slinging around the northern edge of that into Georgia, as well as central Alabama. That's certainly a possibility. Next week could be our next chance of rain, but uh, that this low will probably sling around to the north and off into the central Atlantic and not be a threat to us. Again, where we're at in terms of tropical season, we are looking at, from a climatology standpoint, just past the peak, but we really stay in the peak until early October, so not uncommon to see that level of activity out in the tropics, especially this time of year. So again, in summary, rain chances will pick up later this week, Wednesday into Thursday. Frontal boundary will mean some slightly cooler airs here. This will be very beneficial to the dry scenario that's been unfolding across central Alabama. And again, the much needed rain certainly will be welcomed, especially if there's no threat of severe weather. We'll keep a close eye on it here moving forward. Forecast discussion for this Monday. Happy fall, everybody. It'll be here soon. As you know, Alabama, we tend to hold on to summer just a little bit longer. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you next time.